Swedish great things. It's a dual review time here at Rauta channel. Today's band is something that I have previously featured quite a few times actually, because as it so happens, the band was really kind to send me all these copies, including quite a few albums. And there was previously another dual review where I featured a couple of Hermóðr albums. I'm still unsure how to pronounce it properly, but maybe one day I will learn it. Now this Swedish one-man project or band, whatever you want to call it, is very consistent what it does. That is, it's very atmospheric, kind of soothing, beautiful, melancholic, melodic black metal. Now Hermódr's strength or weakness is basically the same thing. One man creating a vast amount of music in relatively short amount of time, and then again also sounding very much like one album after another. There's not much progress or evolution. Then again, it's also good if you just happen to like one of those albums. You are probably gonna like most of them, if not even all of them. Now, one good example is the year 2016, when these two ones, which we are gonna feature today, got out. That is, during the 2016 year, 10 different Hermódr albums got released. Now obviously some of these are reissues of other ones, that is deep EPs, which I will talk about you later. But still, it's 10 albums during a given year. I mean, that's a huge amount of albums, and one couldn't just do but question this thing. Can you actually maintain the quality when you push out so much material in a short amount of time? Now that's a different topic, but I will get into that with these two albums. As you can see, both beautifully carved digipack releases, both kind of double-sided releases. That is, I will feature them in a bit. And a little bit different in design, but then again also consistent what Hermódr has been doing before. Now the other one is called Above the Shadows. That is one EP with 19 minutes song, and also Past of the Quiet Forest. I will show you these in a bit. Then the another one is a Place of Eternal Twilight / Carved in Ice. Yet another CD release with 2 EPs. Let's start with this one. That doesn't really matter in which order we go. So as you can see, 2 EPs, 2 different covers, both released in 2016, and same applies to this reissue, including both of these releases. So here's the CD once again, with the picture having this great iceberg. What can be said is that roughly 40 minutes plus material, less than 50 minutes anyway, among those covers, and some songs are longer than another, but anyway. And as you can see, this is one Above the Shadows and Past the Quiet Forest. Really beautiful covers, if you ask me. I'm totally a big fan of this kind of art put into albums. Most bands, I hope, would be going for great cover image. Here's once again more of this art. Really beautiful releases, both through Wolfsfell Records, which is a Polish label kind of dedicated to quality black metal. They put out very great albums, and some of lesser greatness, but still very interesting label in all its glory. Now, as these albums are pretty much carved from the same stone, it's pretty easy to put them all together here and think about the music here. Now, Hermódr's albums, like I mentioned already in the beginning, are very much one like the another. Some have different amount of melancholy or melodics, but still it's basically just like waves of the ocean. They're having their up moments, their peaks, and then their low points, but it's constantly coming back and forth, like lower tides, higher tides, and all that stuff. And like I said, it's also the strength and weakness in one point. I mean, some of the Hermóðr albums are close to greatness. They are really beautiful. They are nicely capturing kind of a essence of what Burzum was doing, especially with albums like Visluisetaros and Philosophem. But Hermóðr is kind of a less raw, um, less having these kind of peak points, more soothing, more beautiful, maybe more melancholic, but also not reaching the kind of genius levels of what Burzum is doing. That is not to say Hermódr is not creating good music, but I wouldn't dare to compare these to each other in a way of being equal in quality. Now, some points of Hermódr, like I said, are pretty good, but there are also some quite mediocre. Well, not mediocre exactly, better than just mediocre stuff, but not the level of the better parts, the quality parts. So it's hard to actually go for, just some certain, like any particular song, like, hey, this Hermódr track is really, really good, or this EP or that, because, like I said, the level of change is not that big. Well, some bands have like low point here and high point there. Hermódr's like going this way. I don't know if you get clue, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. And as such, it's easy to understand that some people might just like all the albums or the EPs and whatnot in the discography. But also, if you're not interested in one or two Hermódr albums because they're not too extreme, they're not enough extreme or whatever, it might be that this is not a band for you. However, in my opinion, these both EPs, or let's say compilations featuring these EPs, are very much of the same level. None of these are exactly the best of the band, but they are not worst maybe either. But if I had to choose like between these two for some peculiar reason, like which one would I go for? I would be like, oh man, I can only afford one, or I should start with one. That would be Above the Shadows, or let's say Above the Shadows and Past the Quiet Forest, and not so much this one, I guess. But like I said, these are very much the same quality. It's really hard for me to decide. These are not the best or the worst of Hermódr, but the kind of a middle path, so to speak. But once again, it's beautiful, it's soothing, it's atmospheric black metal, the Swedish way, by one man, Rauta. And as such, if you have missed a band, I think you should give it a chance, either through Hermódr's own Bandcamp page or that Wolfspell's Hermódr Bandcamp page, because there are lots of music for you to be heard throughout the 10 years or whatever. And you won't run that, river too dry too quickly, because there are dozens of hours of Hermódr music. So start with one of these maybe, and let's see where that path shall take you. Definitely an interesting band, but not everybody's cup of tea. That should be enough to be said. Thank you for watching, and as always, should you have any comments, opinions, whatever, put them in the comment box below and I'll get back to you. See ya and bye bye.